Hi, Ellen Macheski again. Today I want to put words to a situation that was very interesting today. As I told you last time, my daughter is here visiting from school because she's on spring break, and she brought her Sheltie with her. He's only, I think, 9 or 10 weeks old, maybe 12. Yeah, 12 weeks old. And he's also a miniature. So he's not going to get heavier than maybe 25, 30 pounds at the max. But I have a shepherd who weighs 100 pounds and a husky who weighs about 45 pounds. And a husky's personality is, oh boy, let's play. Let's find somebody to go play with. Let's find somebody that will pet me. That's how they go through life. They're very social, very funny, very hyper. And I have a shepherd who's the opposite, unless, of course, he's playing with Zara, the husky. Then he has a great time. But it took about 3 weeks to get him to like her. When I first brought her home, he thought she was a mobile stuffed animal. And he just wanted to get the stuffing out like he did to all his other toys. So he wore the muzzle for a good 2 weeks before I was brave enough to try without it. And now, after almost a year, they have a great relationship. Irritate each other, love each other, play. They're fine. Unless they're going to bed. Then if my husky touches him, all this nonsense, Plus he corrects her behavior if I correct him. But anyway, so my daughter brings the Sheltie home, and I have Max's muzzle on, and I have his training collar and leash on. And she doesn't like it. She and Max are very close. She had not left home yet when I got him. And so for the beginning of his life, she was at home, and she didn't train him. They act more like siblings. Okay? He does preposterous things with her that I would never allow, and he knows it because as soon as I walk in the room, he quits whatever it is he was doing, whether it's standing over her or eating what's on her plate or whatever. And she said, I don't like it. He looks uncomfortable. I said, Grace, if you take either one of those off, I will not be responsible for what happens to your puppy. I said, and it could be really ugly. And so the next day, we got up in the morning, and I put his muzzle on and his training collar and his leash. And she came in the room, and she said, oh, no, that was yesterday. We can take it off today, can't we? I said, no, we can't. I said, I have to watch how he reacts before I decide anything. And so she said to me, it just makes me really sad. I'll watch him, and I'm just going to take the muzzle off, and I'll keep the training collar and the leash on. I did not respond to that. Do you have a child that does whatever they want, regardless of what you try and help them with or tell them? Well, she's one of my 4 children that thinks that what they want is most important, regardless of the safety and the consequences. So I'm sitting at my computer trying to work on my blog, and I noticed that the muzzle is not on his face anymore. And Zara, my husky, and the Sheltie are playing together, having a great old time. And my shepherd jumps off the couch and puts his mouth around the Sheltie's head, and everybody jumps up, and splits them apart. And the result was that her dog has kind of a sore throat and a spot up here. It's only superficial, and it didn't bleed much, but it got hurt. I didn't say I told you so, even though I really wanted to. I didn't really say anything. I cleaned up the little boo-boo on his head and put the muzzle back on my shepherd and put him in his kennel. But consequences are a natural part of life. And yes, she pushes the bill on that one. But many parents don't understand how consequences free them up and produce a much better effect than if you just have these emotional arguments and tussles back and forth of who's going to do what and who's going to listen to whom. She learned her lesson about taking the muzzle off. When my other daughter was about 8, she decided she did not need to wear pants or tights with her skirt because they bother her legs, and she'll be fine. I said, fine, whatever. And we got in the car at the end of the day, and she said, wow, it was freezing at recess. My legs were so cold. It really wasn't very much fun. Imagine that. I didn't fight with her before school. I didn't do any of that because I knew that when she got outside and she froze her little butt off, she might think again next time. We need to not enable and not make all the choices for our kids. We need to let them struggle at accomplishing things, and we also need to let natural consequences take care of a lot of these things. You don't let the kid just decide what's going on, but you say to them, this will happen and this will happen. So you decide, I'm going. And you go on with your life. You don't sit there and go back and forth about trying to make them see something they're not going to see because they're kids. Also, do not do things for your child that they can do themselves. I've had first graders that couldn't even hang up their own book bag. You say, yeah, they could. Oh, well, I'm sure if they had the opportunity, they could do it just fine. But when we enable our children, what we are telling them is, you can't handle this yet. Let me take care of you. You need me to do your things for you. And if you'd like to produce a needy, enabled, dependent child, that's the way to do it. But on the other hand, if you would like an independent child who can make decisions, who feels like they have control over their life, do not do for them anything they can do for themselves. If they get stuck and ask for help after they've given it a good go, no problem. You offer the help. You show them how to do it. That's your job. You're modeling for your child. A lot of times we model the things we don't want to model, and we forget to model the things we do want to model. But our job is to help our child grow in independence, self-confidence. And another interesting thing before I go for today, because it's getting kind of long, is the kids who are the ones to step up and be the leaders and help out other children are the ones who have mastered it by themselves. The ones who have figured things out on their own are the ones that offer help to other people. So if we want our kids to grow up as to be leaders and to understand the service and the responsibility for other people in their life, we need to let them figure things out for themselves as much as possible. Okay, see you next time. Thanks for hanging in there.